Okay, hello friends. So today we have Aman Gupta with us. He is working as an agile coach and a mentor, having close to 13 years of total IT experience. And today he is going to take us through Access framework. So welcome, Aman, and yeah, thanks for your time, Aman.
Yeah. So, yeah, team. So my name is Aman, as he told. Here is my LinkedIn profile link if you anybody want to get connected.
Don't worry, Aman, you will
So
get lot of requests. Don't worry.
yeah.
After this
So
session.
yeah. So team. I'm not a person. I'm not a PhD or a recommended person from Scrum.org, right? Based on my understanding of Nexus framework, because we talk about multiple frameworks, but Nexus I feel very less number of folks are using percentage wise or number wise. So I thought let us discuss Nexus. So uh, first thing, why let's keep this session interactive. I want some responses from you. Why we have to do scaling? Why Scrum is not successful? Why we have to do scaling? Can anybody want to answer that?
Maybe like when we have a big projects where a lot of people are there, so it's getting
Okay.
difficult to work with them.
Hmm.
Maybe like 20-30 people or maybe more.
Okay. So how many scaling framework you know? Can you name some of them?
In Agile?
Safe.
Yeah. So there is safe scaled agile framework, Scrum at scale SAS, large scale Scrum LESS, disciplined agile delivery DAD, Nexus. Some people call Spotify also as a scaling framework, but Spotify is not a framework. It's a way of working for that company, and some people have named that as a framework. It's not actually a framework. So these are a few examples. There might be more. So today, let's in this session, let's focus on Nexus. For any query question, you can interrupt me. I will give you a chance to ask after almost every slide. If you have a query, you can ask me. Let's go further. Okay, let me minimize this. Okay, so Nexus, it's a group of 3 to 9 Scrum teams that work together to deliver a single product, right? So in the previous section, all of these scaling model, they have their own limitations, they have their framework, they have their roles, they have their ceremony or events, the meetings, like for say if you have PI planning, right? You have a RTE role, you have some other roles, you have various certifications. For each and everything, there are some limitations. They are people recommend you based on number of people in your team. So if your organization is more than 150, safe doesn't work for you. You have to go for less, right? So depending on your team size, also these frameworks are recommended. So when you are choosing, you have to choose the framework very carefully, right? Keep the limitations, the use case for your company and everything in mind, and then only choose the use case. So Nexus will work when you have 3 to 9 teams. In 2 teams, you don't require a scaling model itself. 2 teams can work directly, but when there are more than 3 teams and up to 9 teams, you might go for Nexus, right? Again, Nexus will have a single product owner who manages a single product backlog. So this is very close to Scrum guide. So if you guys, most of you are Scrum masters or agile coaches, so you might have known there is a Scrum guide. Similarly, we have a Nexus guide. In Scrum, they say if there is a single product, they should have a single product backlog. And if there is a single product backlog, this should be a vision of a single person. That is a single product backlog. So we have a single product owner working for the 3 to 9 teams, right? Now, practically there might be challenges that how a product owner will work for 9 teams, right? A product owner can scale up to 3 to 4 teams, but more than that, how he or she will work. Let's see what is the solution, right? What are the challenges, common challenges which Nexus can solve, right? It can reduce the cross team dependency, it can preserve the team self management and transparency, it will ensure accountability. Any questions so far?
I think how
No.
part will be discussed later.
Yeah, there are more slides, it will come there, right? Why the regions of dependency, right? Why the dependencies are there? So first thing is product structure. So depending on, there might be multiple teams working on a single product. And when they work on the same product, there will be dependencies. Somebody will work on front end, somebody will work on back end, or might be they are working on a client and server model. So they have to interact with each other. So for the product structure, there might be dependencies, or there might be dependencies because of the communication structure. People require help from each other. There is a dependency with each of them. So there can be two type of dependencies. Okay, and these two Nexus will try to solve. This is the Nexus framework. So you have a product backlog. You do Nexus sprint planning. Instead of sprint planning, you use a word Nexus sprint planning. And there is a input for this. You will keep on doing cross team refinement. All of these terms we'll discuss in further slides also in detail. Right. So product backlog, you will keep on doing the cross team refinement. You have a Nexus sprint backlog. There are 3 to 9 teams who will integrate the work. So after every sprint, all the increment, all the result of these teams, whatever they are delivering, it should be integrated, and it should come out as a single product, as a integrated increment. With this increment, you will do the Nexus sprint review. After that, you will do the Nexus sprint retro. As you already know, review is 2 parts. One is demo and another one is inspect and adapt. So you will do a demo of the incremented product, and you will do an inspect and adapt on your product backlog. So there is a feedback loop, and you can modify your product backlog according to your stakeholders' wish. Right? These teams, 3 to 9 teams, do the Nexus daily sprint, daily scrum, and Nexus and there is again a Nexus integration team. So we'll go to roles in the next slides. Any question on the framework?
So almost same as Praveen, go ahead.
Yeah, sorry. So daily Scrum, are we not following here? Yes.
No, we are following daily scrum, team level
sorry.
daily scrum, plus
Yeah.
there is another Nexus daily scrum.
Yeah. Okay.
Right? You will do team level refinement. Additionally, you have cross team refinement.
Yeah.
So whatever you are doing, so it's a scaling of Scrum. So whatever you are doing for your normal Scrum, you will keep on doing these things. Additionally, you get these extra things, cross team refinement, right? Product backlog is still there. Instead of sprint backlog, you have Nexus sprint backlog. So sprint backlog is there. Additionally, you have Nexus sprint backlog. Sprint planning is still there. You have Nexus sprint planning, right? So few additional ceremonies has come. Does I answer your question?
Yes, it is. Thank you.
Okay. There was one more person asking something.
Yeah, man. Hi, this is Sunan. So what's the role of this integration team? Is it kind of release management or kind of DevOps, which is we call it as integration team?
No, it's not DevOps, but yeah, but they are responsible for integration and other things, right? This team will be like a guiding team to all these teams, right? So let's say nine teams are there, and there are 8 members each on an average, right? So 72 people can't attend a daily meeting. It is not feasible or possible for 72 people to attend a meeting, and then this meeting has to be fruitful, right? It will just be a chaos if 72 people attend. So what will happen is selective members from each team, let's say 2 members from each of these team will join this Nexus integration team, right? There will be a PO, there will be a Scrum Master. A Scrum Master can be one Scrum Master out of these teams, or you can hire a new Scrum Master depending on company's budget and other things, right? If it is he or she is from this team's Scrum Master, it will be better because he will have the knowledge of this also, whatever is happening in Nexus, right? So one product owner, one Scrum Master, and selected members from these teams, right? They can be team leads, they can be individual members, or it can be on a rotational basis. So they will join this team and they will get some idea what is going to happen. So in the Nexus sprint planning meeting, right? Nexus sprint planning meeting, the Nexus integration team will discuss, okay, what will be our goal and how this has to be tackled. And now, since all the members from all the teams are here, they will come to know what is there for their team in the next sprint. So they will go back to their team and they will say, okay, for our team, this is the agenda. For our team, this is the agenda. So let's say these teams are working on different epics, right? To bring this increment to the next level from, let's say 1.2 to 1.3, right? In the current sprint, what our team has to do, these team members will inform the original teams. right? So instead of 8-9 members from each team joining this, only 2-3 selected members are joining. Who will be these members? How they will join? It will be decided among the organization. So companies can or teams can decide based on their needs.
And what's the frequency? So again, depends on team to team.
Frequency for what?
For meeting, for this integration team to meet.
They meet daily in a Nexus daily scrum, like a daily scrum. They have a Nexus level daily scrum where this team will meet.
Okay, thanks, Aman.
Okay. Okay, so Nexus integration team, I explained while answering that question. So there is a product owner, only one product owner. We have to be careful here. Only one product owner, a Scrum Master, one Scrum Master, and appropriate member from Scrum team. So like Scrum guide, right? There are many things which are open. Nexus guide also, there are many things open, which the teams can decide how they want to tackle it. Right? There is no rule or rule of thumb or something like that from the Nexus. You can decide based on your need and your requirement. Okay, Nexus is integration team. So they are accountable, right? They are accountable for ensuring a done incremented increment is produced at least once a sprint. Right? What is increment? Who want to answer this? What is increment? Anybody want to try?
So it's every single shippable product that we deliver during the sprint.
Yeah. So in Scrum, you call it potentially shippable increment, right? So it's ready to be shipped. That's why it is shippable. Potentially, it has all the potential. So it's not like when PO asks you, I want to ship now. You should not be saying, okay, one testing is remaining, one bug is remaining. It should be ready to be shipped, right? It's potentially shippable. In Nexus, you have this done integrated increment. So your increment should be integrated and it should be done. It should meet all the definition of done aspects, right? At least once a sprint. So there can be more than one. There can be more than one done integrated increment every sprint. But at least once it should be there. Right? All the Scrum teams, what they will do, they will address the integration issues. Right? When 9 teams have to integrate and create a single product, somebody's feedback is coming. So please keep your device on mute until you are talking. Hello. Okay. So these Scrum teams, they will address the integration issues within the Nexus. The Nexus integration team, right? What they will do? So Sunand was asking, they will address the technical and non-technical cross-functional team constraint. So there might be technical challenges, there might be non-technical challenges. So everything, whatever is required for the team to work, so they will remove the impediment from the team's process, right? Scrum Master remove the impediment, but they at the Scrum Nexus team level, they will remove all the impediments also, right? It may be technical, non-technical, or any type of thing, right? So they will make sure that the team is delivering a integrated increment every time, right? Their role is coaching, consulting, highlighting awareness of dependencies and cross team issues. So these are the things this Nexus integration team will do, right? Now a fine point here, membership in the Nexus integration team take precedence over the individual Scrum team members. So if you have some work for this team, like assisting other team members from your team or other teams, will take precedence over your original team capacity, right? So you can say you are working only 50% for your team and 50% you are guiding others, right? So it's more like a coaching and consulting here. It's a coaching and consulting role. So if so in your board, in your particular board, because the members are there from all the various teams also. So in your board, if you have something that will have less priority compared to your items or your task in the Nexus level. Any questions on this?
Aman, interesting thing over here is, which you have mentioned, is technical and non-technical cross-functional team constraints. So when you say technical, right? So are we expecting that some senior folks or some architects or someone with having a domain knowledge will come together and going to resolve these challenges and issues?
Yeah.
And,
so in this case, like I said, Nexus have not recommended anything. Teams can decide if a technical architect is required or somebody at a higher level is required, right? He or she can be a part of this team, Nexus integration team, right? Let's say every team 2 members are joining, so we have 18 technical people, 18 developers. PO and Scrum Master might not be technical, but all the developers are technical. They know depth and width of the product, right? So these 18 members can do wonders in this Nexus integration team. It
And
might
one
be
interesting
architect, it might
thing
be
over here,
team lead.
Aman. So is PO is also joining these calls?
Yeah, he is a part of Nexus integration team. See, I will go back one slide. Nexus integration team is a combination of this: a PO, ISM, and appropriate member from the Scrum teams. So if let's say there are 9 teams, that is the maximum. So if 2 members from each team, that is 18 members, plus a Scrum Master, plus a PO. So all 20 members join these calls every day. What are the meetings? I will explain the events section. We are still into roles.
Aman, why I'm asking this? Because see, normally in our Scrum calls and Scrum retrospective and all those things, our PO were there, right? Normally. So now I'm just wondering if we have 9 teams and our PO is about to join, all these calls. First of all, integration calls and then normal Scrum team calls, right? So it will be going to be very hectic for him, and I'm not sure whether with the distributed team he's might be interested in joining all those calls. So will we face this kind of challenges? Honestly, like
this kind of challenges will come because see, first of all, like I said in starting only, it might not be feasible for one PO to have this kind of setup, right? He or she might not be able to like help 9 plus 1 this one team, 10 teams. But the thing is, the PO is here with this team, and all the members from all the teams are there, right? Members from all the teams are there, so they will be getting whatever questions are there. Maybe PO will join only this call, only these meetings which are required for Nexus level, and he will not join the team level calls, right? And whatever information is required, these people will inform to their respective teams.
Okay, understood, Aman. Yeah, thanks.
Right. Yeah, thank you, Sunand.
Yeah, Aman, one question here. Can you go to that slide, please? Yeah.
Yes.
So when we are talking about role, right? So who is accountable for all these roles? Coaching, consulting, highlights, all the team member or any individual? How it is?
All the team members. All that. See, Nexus integration team is not entire team, right? Not all 100 people are going to join this, right? Selective member from each team is joining. So these members, obviously, they will not send a fresher or some 1 year's experienced person, right? They will send some senior person who will be able to understand things, right? Because he has to understand, and then he or she has to explain also when he comes to the team level.
Okay, still, yeah, it is difficult. Fine. Yeah, please go ahead. Yeah.
Okay.
Aman, a small question.
Yeah.
Yeah, the Scrum Master that you're referring here as a part of this Nexus integration team. So the Scrum Master is one from those 9 team, or it is a separate Scrum Master?
Okay, this also I told in the starting. So he or she can be a Scrum Master for other teams, or it depends on the company, right? If company can afford a single separate Scrum Master, it's good. But if he is from one of the teams, because generally a Scrum Master works with 2-3 teams, right? So at least from 2-3 teams, he is also aware what is happening in these 3 teams, right? So if it is a Scrum Master like RTE, right? In SAFe, there is a role called RTE.
RTE, right?
Right. So if the RTE is also a Scrum Master for a few teams, it works well within that organization. So it depends.
Okay.
Right. So whatever works better for the company. So from the Nexus side, there is no recommendation. And I'm not an official from scrum.org, so I will recommend something. I am just saying whatever is my understanding. Based on that, I am answering these questions.
Okay.
So yeah, Scrum, Nexus, all these things, they have left many things unanswered, right? So depending on the company's requirement and how the things are going, you can decide. Okay, now roles and accountabilities within the Nexus integration team. Right, product owner is a single person, have the final decision-making authority like Scrum. So it's very close to Scrum. He is accountable for maximizing the value of the product and work performed integrated by Scrum team. So there also in Scrum also you will find the almost similar line. He is accountable for effective product management. So product backlog management is very easy, right? Prioritizing things, keeping priority things on top, and then seeing the business value, all other things, right? Whatever comes for product backlog management, the PO is still responsible for all those things. Scrum Master is accountable for ensuring the Nexus framework is understood and enacted. So people have to understand how Nexus works, and people are acting on this, right? People are working accordingly. This now the question with the previous person, Praveen, I think he asked, this Scrum Master may also be a Scrum Master in one or more of the Scrum teams, but they have written a May. So if you go for a there is a certification for this in scrum.org. So if you go for a certification, this May you have to consider. If there is a must, then the answer will change. If there is a may, the answer will change. So you have to be very careful. So there is a may. Right. Next, the Nexus integration team members. They will help the Scrum team to adopt tool and practices. So they can select, okay, we have to select a new database. So which database should be there? So instead of 9 teams doing a spike on that, or doing a validation on out of 5 DBs possible, which DB to take, right? There might be this integration team which will work collaboratively, and they will select, okay, this is the best DB for our use case. So they will help the other teams to adopt tools and practices. Any questions on this?
So when we are saying when we are saying Nexus integration team, so it's a single team, and the people who are working to this team, they will be aligned with different teams actually. Is it like that?
Correct. Correct.
Okay. I have a question.
Now, yeah.
Yeah, so in SAFE, the responsibility of managing the agile train is on RT. So here
Yes.
that responsibility is only on a Scrum Master or whole integration team.
See, you can't do a one-to-one comparison between SAFE and Nexus, right? But still, the Scrum Master at this level, at the Nexus level, can take this responsibility. Right, there is a Scrum Master here. So depending on the situation, let's say other Scrum Masters are handling 2 or 3 teams, this Scrum Master can take one Scrum team and one of the Nexus integration team, and he takes the additional responsibility of coordinating and doing other things. Like in SAFE, RT does all the things for PI level or at the higher level, right?
Yeah, thanks.
Okay. Next is Nexus events. If somebody is thinking giving attention, it's going very close to Scrum, right? First the roles and then the events. Next come the artifacts. Okay, the sprint. Sprint is same as Scrum. The output of this will be single integrated increment. So there is nothing much to discuss. Next is cross team refinement. So we will do the backlog refinement, backlog grooming. We call it several things, right? We'll do for individual team level. But at a higher level, at a Nexus level, at a cross team level, there should be a refinement. So this is a new event added for Nexus, and which will serve the purpose of doing the cross team refinement. Right. So I have highlighted here that Scrum team level refinement will continue. So you will continue this. Additionally, this is a new event, but this will be joined only by the Nexus integration team. Not all 70-80 people have to join this. Right. It will reduce or eliminate the cross team dependencies. Right. They are identified and they are removed or minimized. So once you identify dependency, once the dependency is surfaced, you talk to the respective Scrum Masters POs and get that resolved. Now within the Nexus integration team, everybody is sitting there. And since you have a single PO as per the Nexus guide, your PO is there, one Scrum Master is there, entire team is there. So you can discuss then and there, and it will be resolved. People will be busy because in the intended sprint, I will be able to fix this or not. Generally, we have this type of dependency. Sprint number 10, you finish something, so that we will take in sprint number 11, and we finish by sprint number 12, and sprint number 13, somebody will do an end-to-end validation. Right. So all these things can happen within that single refinement session. Right. It will help the Scrum team forecast which team will deliver which product backlog item. So here, during the cross team refinement, based on their expertise, based on the domain knowledge, maybe they can select the epics. They can select which particular feature I will be able to deliver. It is for the team level. Right. It will identify the dependencies across team. Once you are doing this epic level grooming, you will also know if there are dependencies. So you will identify and you will try to mitigate or resolve them. Okay, I'll move to next screen. That is Nexus Sprint Planning. This is the additional for Nexus, appropriate
Sorry,
representative
Aman.
from. Yeah.
Hi, Aman. Hi,
Yes,
sorry.
Anand.
Sunan's this side. So can you just go to the previous slide?
Yeah.
So this after this refinement, right? This integration team have done the refinement. So what is the output? And that output will be taken as an input for my individual Scrum teams?
No, that will be done on in the Nexus Sprint Planning level. Right, this is just the refinement. See, in the refinement will estimate things, will make the things clear, we will discuss about the dependencies. So it's more for the dependencies and making things clear. And one more thing is they will make it clear which team will take what, because there is a single product backlog. Now there might be 100 epics. Which team will take which epic will be decided within this. Right, so the individuals can take input from their team, which epic is of interest for them, and based on that they can select the epics and other things.
Okay, so estimation is still not happening over here. It will happen at team level.
Team level only.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, so a new event called Nexus Sprint Planning, it is added for Nexus. Now again, appropriate representative from each Scrum team and the PO joins. The Scrum Master will make sure it is happening. Why it is happening is to coordinate the activities of all Scrum team within an Nexus. So it's like a high level planning meeting where selective members are joining, right? PO is there and Scrum Master is there, and they will make the Scrum product backlog for all the teams, right? They will select and they will make the sprint backlog. So what will be the outcome for this? A Nexus level sprint goal, a sprint goal for each team. So for each team, they will say, okay, this team will do this team will do this, and collection of these 3 to 9 teams sprint goal is my Nexus level sprint goal. There will be a Nexus level sprint backlog, and there will be a sprint backlog for each team. So these 4 will be the outcome for this. The output for this will be these 4 things, right? Goal for Nexus level, goal for team level, sprint backlog for Nexus level, sprint backlog for team level, right? And if you add all the sprint backlog for team levels, it will be the sum of these will be the Nexus sprint backlog. Similarly, this, right, the single goal will be distributed into 9 parts, 3 to 9 parts, which the single team will take. So here all the things are happening. So then whatever you asked in the refinement, these things are happening here.
Yeah, okay.
Okay, moving on. Nexus daily scrum. Again, this is added for Nexus. Each Scrum team daily scrum complement this Nexus daily scrum. So you need the daily scrum, and this is additional for the Nexus integration team, right? So in general, what you do in your daily scrum, you check your progress towards your sprint goal, right? For here, since you have a Nexus level sprint goal, you can discuss, and the team members are also joining their daily scrum, right? Their original team level daily scrum. So if there is a problem which the Nexus have to see, or Nexus have to provide a solution, this team will take action and they will say, okay, for my team, let's say team name is A, B, C, D, E. So team A is having this problem, team B is having this problem. They will discuss there, and if there is a solution possible, they will work on that, because that is their additional job as a part of the Nexus integration team. Again, appropriate representative from Scrum team. They have not written who has to join, whether it is an architect or a fresher, or it should be a rotational visit. They have not written anything. The purpose is to identify any integration issues and inspect progress toward the sprint goal, what I told already. Then cross-team communication occurs throughout the day for more detailed discussion. So this meeting is, the similar line is there in the Scrum guide also. So the meeting is just an initiator. So you can take your action items and you can say, okay, this I need help from this person. So in your daily Scrum, the actual help is not happening, right? You just inform the person and you say, okay, I need your time. And then the actual implementation or the discussion happens afterwards. Something similar will happen. So the other discussions can happen throughout the day, and you can replan for your rest of sprint work. This meeting is just an initiator. Moving on. Nexus sprint review. Now, since all the 9 teams will do the review, you don't need a Scrum level review. All the 9 teams will do the review at the end of the sprint, when everything is done, we are at the time box, team will review. But since all the 9 teams are reviewing, putting their reviews, you don't need a team level sprint review, so you can avoid one meeting. Okay, all the entire Nexus, all your 70, 80, 100 people can join. Apart from your stakeholders, they can join. The purpose is to provide feedback on the done integrated increment, and if you want to change anything in your product backlog. Also, the progress towards the product goal is discussed. So you start with a vision, that is your product goal, that after the future state of my product will look like this, right? So the progress toward the product goal is discussed, whether we are progressing in correct direction or not. If not, you can do a inspect and adapt. You can take necessary actions. Any questions so far?
So whatever the calls we are discussing, do they have a timeline as well?
Sorry, Gunjan, there is a feedback along with your voice. Can you repeat your question?
Sorry. So the calls which we are discussing, these calls have a timeline as well. Like in Scrum, we have the daily Scrum as 15 minutes sprint review. They have the deadline in which they need to finish it. So
no, nothing has been recommended in the Nexus guide. Right? It can be closer to whatever we have for Scrum. Right? So yeah, similar type of review is there in SAFe also. In SAFe, you do a PI level of review after every sprint, and after every PI, after 5 or 6 sprint, you do a PI level review. But here, after every sprint, you get a review. Right? In SAFe, you have to plan for next 5-6 sprints. Here, you can just plan for 1 sprint. Nexus Sprint Retrospective, it is again added for Nexus. So it means that you have the team level retro plus you have the Nexus level retro. This will be the last meeting of Nexus Sprint. Like retro is the last meeting of your sprint. Scrum Team Retrospective complement the Nexus Sprint Retrospective, right? So both of them are required, Scrum Team level as well as the Nexus level. Why we want this? To increase quality and effectiveness across the whole Nexus. Right, and you will check what happened in the last sprint regarding the individual, team, interaction, process, tool, definition of done. So retrospective is one chance where you can improve your definition of done. Something is not working out in your definition of, you are free to change during the sprint retrospective. Something similar in the Nexus also. Okay, and this is the last meeting, so we are done with the events. Next we have artifacts and commitments. Any questions so far?
So Aman, just for the retro, right? Nexus retro. So if I want to summarize of my understanding, so basically we are going to discuss my team level common retrospective item. So let's say there is some issue across the teams, right? So maybe we will discuss that among this retro, because the representative of other team members are there, right? So maybe they can come out with some sort of solution to that, right?
Yeah, Sunan. So first you finish your team level retro. Whatever points are coming, see, there might be something internal for the team, right? That you leave there. But if there are something for your external level, right now in my company, what is happening? We are working on a project where multiple stakeholders are there. We are working in SAFe, right? So let's say there are 5 action items or 5 things which have not happened good. Out of them, 2 or 3 are very common, right? Which is for the team level, we can sort it out. But two things are happening for something else, right? Now to resolve these, we need this type of retrospective where we can discuss cross team issues. Let's say my team is not responsible for the infrastructure, right? So infra somebody has to provide. It should be a given thing for my team to work. Now, if the infra is not there, the Nexus level retrospective is a chance where I can discuss with the infra providing team, the build team or the CI/CD team, that infra is not available, right? There should be high availability HA for my infra, right? And because let's say infra is down on the last day of the sprint, my team is not able to close few things because they can't merge the code, right? And this thing, if I discuss within my team, I will not get a solution. So I have to discuss in a outside the Scrum team level discussion, right? So this particular sprint Nexus sprint retrospective give me a chance to discuss all these things.
Hey, thanks, Aman.
Yeah, or there might be a dependency. So some team committed, okay, team B has committed to team A that we will finish something in sprint number 10. And if they are not able to finish that, we can raise a point, we can raise a flag in this meeting. There is no SOS. I have not discussed any SOS, Scrum or something like this, right? So this will again give you a chance to discuss. Anyways, you can discuss during the daily Scrum meeting, but if something has happened bad, you can't take action that time, or something was not possible because of changing priorities or something, right? You can discuss in the retrospective, so that next time the same error can be avoided.
Aman, one quick question. Let's say my team is not able to complete the sprint goal, right? So product owner said like it is obsolete. That means my sprint is going to cancel. So I am in your Nexus team, and my team is going to cancel this. So in this situation, how these things will handle?
See, cancellation is a very unique thing. Cancellation doesn't happen every day, right? In your career, how many times it happened? In my career, I am a Scrum Master from more than 10 years now, right? It happened only once.
Yeah.
Right. So companies will not change their goal, their way of working overnight. Right.
True.
It's not demonetization that we can do overnight.
Yeah. But thing is, this can be a situation. So how
this can be a situation? Yeah. So what happens when a sprint cancels?
Sprint cancel means immediately you have to start planning for the next sprint, and the sprint will cancel.
Okay. So who will cancel? PO, right? PO has the right to cancel the sprint, right?
Correct.
So now in this case, PO is the single product owner, right? We don't have multiple product owners. So if something is wrong with this team's sprint, he will cancel this. First of all, this will happen very rarely, right?
That's true.
But if it happens, the PO knows already, because he is part of the Scrum level and he is part of the Nexus integration team level also, right? So PO is already knowing there is some changes with the priorities of this team, so he will cancel that sprint. So this particular team, everything will be cancelled, right? And he will plan for the new things. Okay, what this was your goal, now this goal is no more valid for currently, right? Maybe this again becomes valid after 6 months, 1 year, we don't know, right? At this moment of time, this is not valid, so we'll cancel this, and PO will again give them the stories for the next sprint.
Okay. Yeah, as Sunand already mentioned earlier, right? So I feel like PO is very, PO is having lots of work at this moment. He is handling 9 teams, and he's taking care for everything. Yeah.
He's having 3 to 9 teams.
Yeah.
3 to 9. So it can be 3-4 teams also.
Yeah.
See,
maximum.
So there is a framework called large scale Scrum. It will allow you to have work with 750 to 900, 1000 members. So your team can be like 1000 members.
Yeah.
Right. So it depends. Now there are multiple POs.
Correct.
Maybe sometime we will have a session on that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Do they have something like business analyst in the team, or it depends on the organization?
It depends on the organization. There is no specific role. Like everybody is called a developer. Previously they were development team. Now they are called developers. From 17 November 2020, they are called developers. So it may be a BA, developer, tester, UI, UX, whatever, but they are a developer.
All right. Yeah. Fine.
Quick question. So why we don't have a proxy POs for each team, proxy PO or BA actually? Because the question is again the same.
Yeah, sir, Gunjan sir, proxy PO is anti-pattern. It is not recommended, not given, right? We have multiple type of things happening in the industry, and we can't control it. It's out of our control, right? So proxy PO, there is like a technical Scrum Master. There is a Java Scrum Master. We can't control all these things. It is happening in companies, we can't control. That's it.
Yeah, I'm with you, but the way we are discussing like 9 teams with respect to one person, okay. I see a lot of hurdles for a person to work with 9 teams somewhere. That's why I came up with this point.
Yeah. So in that case, if company or the organization feels, they can have multiple POs, but at a single point they should meet. The vision in their mind should meet, right? They should think on the same guidelines, or they have to meet very frequently, right?
So it's
that
not
they are aligned.
So it's not mandatory to have a single PO. They have multiple POs, but one will be the one who is going to handle the complete
So
content.
as per the guide, that's what I told. I have got an official person from Scrum.org. As per the guide, there is a single PO, right? But for the practical situation, we can think of multiple POs.
Okay, got it. Thank you.
Okay, so product backlog. Now we are into artifacts and commitments. Sorry.
Sorry to interrupt. So like when we see towards the safe, okay. So it is one level up in the sense when we are having the PA plan, we will be having all our project managers, RTEs, product managers, POs, everyone. So I think here we are removing the PO and placing the project manager as a PO role. Correct me if I'm wrong.
Okay. No, there also it is not written anywhere that you can put a engineering manager or a project manager there.
Right? But we have the multiple roles now in safe.
Yes. Yes.
So
but PO is the final.
Yep.
Mallikarjun, PO is the final decision-making authority. You can't take that role from him or her.
Yeah, that's true. But on top, like from consider like from Scrum Masters, okay, we have the RTE where we will be having Scrum of Scrums and we will be discussing. And in the same way, like the POs will be having one channel like product manager where multiple product owners will sync over there and
that
get
is called,
what should be as a product increment.
That is called PO sync.
Yes. So what I'm saying is like it's like removing all the POs and having the project manager as in this position, and remaining will be as is. It's my overview.
Yeah, you can do like that. So there might be multiple solutions possible, right? If my engineering manager gives me all the decision, he or she is having all the decision making authority. If my engineering manager gives me everything in a prioritized order, he is my PO. I don't care whatever is it designation, right? PO is just a role, a hat you are wearing when you are sitting in a meeting.
Yeah, that's true.
It can be any person.
It can be any person. That's what. That's what. It can be any person. That's what I thought. My thought is like the sync over here is like removing the manager role or the product manager and having the PO in that and handling the overall. If you see the Nexus framework, if you see even recollect our PA planning, I think it will be in the same format. Is it?
No, it's not in the same format. PI planning happens a little differently. PI planning, during a PI planning, all your team members have to sit. So if there are 150 members, all 150 have to sit there.
Yes.
Right.
Now only some experience.
And in all our companies, half the team is sitting in US. So it is not feasible or possible for any company to every quarter, because one PI is almost one quarter, 12 weeks, right? Every quarter they fly everybody to India or to US or something like that, right? That is not possible every time, right? How big is the organization? It is not possible. And I have not seen in any company it is happening, right? Because there are, because travel will cost too much. Apart from that, people will be on leave and things like that, right? People have to plan for travel and other things. So it is not at all feasible. And during the safe, in the PI planning, whatever you plan for the next 5 sprints, is it happening in your company that you are following 100% of that? Because of that, changing priorities will change things, right? Only first 1 or 2 sprints will go as per plan. There also sometimes there are challenges, right? And remaining 2-3 sprints will go here and there, right? So safe also have some challenges. It's not like safe is working very good, right? So everything is having their some limitations, some good things, some bad things. So it's a combination. So you have to select which one is best possible or suitable for you.
Even that is true. At the end, that is true. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Mallikarjun. So coming back, there are 3 artifacts as similar to Scrum. Product backlog, there should be a single product backlog, as I told maybe for the 10th time today. It's for the entire Nexus and for the Scrum teams. Again, PO is accountable for product backlog, content, availability, and ordering. So whatever is there in the product backlog, it's available. It's available for 9 teams. Again, somebody might ask how he will write stories for 9 teams, right? So in the new Scrum guide, it has been written that PO can delegate the responsibilities, but he is still accountable for the stories, right? He is still accountable for the product backlog. He can delegate the responsibility, but accountable lies with him. Again, the ordering. depending on the priority, depending on the business value, you have to order the product backlog. So he's accountable for all this. Now, product backlog, the commitment is product goal. Very easy. It's similar to Scrum. What is this? Product goal is future state of the product, and it serves as the long-term goal for the Nexus. So what this is our long-term goal. After 6 months or 1 year, our product will look like this. That is your product goal. Next, Nexus Sprint Backlog. Right. So as I said in the Nexus Sprint Planning, that slide, we have a Nexus Sprint Backlog. It is a composite of all teams' sprint goal and their PBIs, product backlog items, from the sprint backlog of all the teams. It will highlight the dependencies and the flow of work. It is updated throughout the sprint. So as you learn more, you have to update it. The commitment for this is Nexus Sprint goal. Single objective for the entire Nexus. So you have a one-line goal for the entire Nexus. So in this sprint, our Nexus will deliver this. That one line is your sprint goal. It is a sum of all the work and the sprint goal of all the teams. Right? When it is created, the sprint goal is created during the sprint planning. So this sprint backlog will be created during the Nexus Sprint Planning event. And you can add it to your Nexus Sprint Backlog. Right? So during or before the end of the Nexus Sprint Planning meeting, you have to finish this, your Nexus Sprint goal. Last, integrated increment. It is current sum of all the work done. Right? It is inspected at the sprint review meeting, as I told already. It may be delivered to the stakeholders before the end of the sprint. It is maybe, right? So it is potentially shippable. Who will decide that when it will be shipped? PO will decide, right? The product owner will decide when it will be shipped. So there is additional responsibility. He is talking to stakeholders also. And he is making sure stakeholders, whatever team is committing or he is committing, it's getting fulfilled. So additional responsibilities for product owner. The integrated increment, it must meet the definition of done. Now, the definition of done is very similar. The commitment for this is very similar, right? And it's very close to the Scrum definition of done. So to make sure that your product is with good quality and whatever measurement are required, right? Your increment should be integrated, valuable, and usable, right? All these three terms is having some meaning. So you have to focus on these. The Nexus integration team is responsible for a sorry. So the team is responsible for the DOD, right? So the integrated increment is meeting DOD. This team can check, right? And they are responsible for that. All Scrum team within the Nexus must define and adhere to this DOD. So they will decide the DOD at the Nexus level, and this is the minimum DOD for all the teams. Now, if the minimum DOD says 1 code review, and if your team feels that 2 code review will make your product better, you can go for 2 code reviews. But minimum level, you have to fulfill the DOD which is given by the Nexus. Right? You can have additional checkpoints for your particular team. Right? In the last line, okay. In the last line, they have written that they may choose to apply a more stringent DOD within their own teams. And this is my last slide. Thank you. Any questions?
Aman, really nice session. The way you have taken all the questions are really good. I must say. Guys, any queries? I mean, one thing which I can see a lot of similarities with our Scrum, what we are doing, and a lot of things similar with the scaled agile. But I guess, yeah, it's again one way of doing the thing. And I think we all have to explore more on this Nexus. Then only maybe we'll understand a little bit more about this framework. The idea is like just to give an overview, just to understand like what is Nexus is all about, because most of the people who are preparing for PSM2 and all, it's like a kind of mandatory. And I'm sure, like including me, honestly, like I've not spent much time on Nexus till now, but maybe after this session, maybe I'll spend some more time on this, Aman. So yeah, thanks for that.
Yeah, during PSM1 also, you will have few questions which is related to scaling. So there, these things will help you. And PSM2, there will be many questions from this. So if you are planning for PSM2, it is one of the recommended things. as Sunan said. So yeah, please go through it. If you have questions, you can reach out to me.